Copy.
Hello everyone and welcome to Formula Trout. This is another round of the hybrid series, the Premier Championship, and this time we are at the historic Monaco Grand Prix circuit. This circuit, of course, one that has been missing from the Formula One calendar for the last series, but it's back today in the form of Formula Trout, in preparation for what will hopefully be the return of the true Monaco Grand Prix this year. Qualifying has already happened. It actually happened yesterday for some reason. We've had a slight change of schedule for Monaco. Another change which may come into play later on is that we may also have safety car interventions, but you'd have seen that if you'd been watching the Challenger split. For the time being, we're just waiting for the start of the race. We've got quite a long countdown while we get drivers into the server. So let's just talk about the league and recap what we've seen so far. I'm joined today by Ross McIntyre. As you have I got your surname wrong again? No, I haven't. Phew. Good.
That was bang on. Good one.
Good. How are you, Ross?
Yeah, I'm not too badly, thanks. Just came off a pretty exciting Challenger split race. It wasn't exciting to broadcast. My internet was giving me some absolute hell. Thank you for taking over and allowing me that saving grace for this race. But yeah, pretty exciting race. The strategy was definitely interesting to see what happened. The grid was a lot smaller though, so it was less action. But there was a safety car right at the end, the last lap sprint to the finish as well. So we got to see some safety car action. It should be interesting to see how that all fares today. Obviously, there's a bigger grid today in the Master Split. It's also a lot closer. There's not as much of a big field spread. Yeah, obviously the pole sitter, Max Hammerlink, had put in an absolutely phenomenal time, but down to the middle half to the back end of the grid was all super, super tight. So it should be really interesting to see how that dynamic comes into play. And as I said earlier, on the first lap with more cars into somewhere like the hairpin, even though it's a yellow flag zone, there's no overtaking allowed there. It should be really interesting to see how they all get through.
I should apologise quickly about the lack of things such as an intro sequence or some of the other graphics that you're used to seeing. A lot's gone wrong since or between now and the last race. I've had to reinstall Steam and Assetto Corsa, and a bunch of things have been a little up in the air. And I have to say I haven't delivered on some of the promises that I made some people, but next round it should all be better, because I won't have to, well, crossing my fingers, I won't have to reinstall Assetto Corsa again, but anyway, back to the action today. I've already seen a qualifying session, of course, and on pole is Jack Smith, I believe.
Oh, Max Hammerlink on pole.
Sorry, my game's really being quite unpredictable here. As you can see, it's not letting me see all of the drivers in order. But anyway, so Russ, sorry, let me start that again. Okay, so Russ, you were there for the qualifying session yesterday, and I wasn't. What did I miss?
Oh, you missed an absolutely phenomenal lap from Max Hammerlink to put it on the pole. It really was, well, he's in a class of his own. I think the order of the story today is going to be seeing that Verna car shoot off into the distance. But there's been a few drivers, kind of surprising actually. Andreas Schilder put in a pretty strong lap to go P2. David Halligan in P3 put in a phenomenal lap. He is, well out qualified where he usually is. It's fantastic stuff from the Octan driver there. Just looking down the rest of the grid as well. And, a couple people perhaps a bit further back than they would expect. It was an interesting qualifying session. Obviously, the dynamic of the kind of the split quali that we had in order to basically avoid pile-ups kind of really changed. And as well, the fact the track was at 100% grip from the get-go. There was no track evolution in qualifying, which kind of changed the dynamic of how drivers kind of built up to the laps. Then the fact there was no one else there as well just added a bit more drama, a bit more tension to the event. So a few drivers perhaps a little bit out of position, and obviously here at the Azure Circuit it's absolutely crucial that you qualify well due to the lack of overtaking opportunities, such as the size of these RSS Formula Hybrid 2020 cars. As Dave Sudler finally pops into the server, that was the last driver we were waiting for. I think only about 2 minutes to go until the lights go out. So yeah, it should be interesting to see. The first lap, as always, is going to be chaos here. It always is. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully we won't have a safety car. I got to use my safety car graphic earlier, so that was enjoyable, but I've had my fun with that now, and obviously you're the one streaming now. Anything else just to think about? I think a few people have back of grid penalties, but apart from that, I think it's all pretty much set, so we should be in for a great race today, Caitlin.
Indeed. Now, as you can see, it's only letting me see Paul Magsayer and Andreas Schilder right now. So let's go. Oh, I can't go back. Okay, Russ, is there any way you could run us through the grid quickly?
I certainly can. Hang on, just give me 2 secs and I'll let you know. Well, we've got Max Hammerlink on the pole with a phenomenal lap. And for some reason it's giving me all the positions in some very random orders. Which is not the truth. Yeah, sorry. The servers have been all sorts of incredible today. It's Andreas Schilder in P2. In P3 we've got David Halligan with a great qualifying. Jack Smith's in P4. Paul Magsayer P6. P5, even apologies. Dave Southard's P6, Christoph Berzer P7, Mustafa Moradi P8, Toby Sanford in P9, and then looking further down the grid as well. Just give me a moment. My Assetto Corsa is having a moment, and I'm stuck on Dave Southard and Andreas Schilder as well now, which is quite annoying. And that's your top 9 at least. If I can get my tower up. No, well, if you, It's Reese is at the back, just kind of looking through. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure who MO small letter A is. I'm not quite sure who that is.
Well, anyway,
unfortunately.
we'll be able to see it properly once the race begins. Big shame that we can't give you a properly professional broadcast today. A lot has been messed up by our various issues, but you know, sometimes this kind of thing happens. Okay, well, we've got 16 seconds now until the lights go out. You should be seeing the 6 red lights appearing on your screen right now, and when they go out, we will be underway here at Monaco for 45 laps of the famous Principality. Here we go, and off the grid. Okay, that looked like a decent getaway from Max Hammerling. Let's take a look to the front of the order. There we go. He turns into turn 1. Okay. Oh, and a big crash behind. There's carnage. They're bouncing from Unco to Unco. There's a lot of cars involved in that. Out. There's got to be a safety car. So we've had a safety car intervention. Let's see if we can have a look. Oh my goodness, a lot of cars in there. There's a wow. Okay, well, here we have, oh my goodness, and Southard there struggling to avoid everyone who had stopped. Is that Jordi Lawes or Alex Cochrane? It's one of the Nova Finlandia cars that's been involved, and plenty of other cars, plenty of GRGs. Hermes Reese is involved. Is that Sanford, Stoyan? Plenty of drivers have been very badly.
Sorry to cut across you, it was actually 2 separate incidents at one time. Toby Sanford got clipped and sent round at the entry to the corner, and then David Halligan, his teammate, I'm not sure if there was contact or just a bit too much throttle, went round on the exit as well. So both the Oxtan cars there, really disappointing for David Halligan as well, qualified so well, and it just turned into a car park, unfortunately for them. So we're getting our token safety car out the way. Hopefully this is not here for too long. But yeah, what a shame for David Halligan especially. He's a driver who I think was looking forward, and Toby Sanford as well really ended up down the order. Reese and Cochrane as well back there. Yeah, that's not the start we wanted to see here in Monte Carlo. But you know, crashes happen in sim racing. Just got to see how these drivers deal with their recovery now.
Now I do apologise, I've got no idea why I can only see 3 cars on the numbers tower. As you can see, I've got it set to 27, so it should be showing all of them. Maybe info always visible would help. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. If anyone could help me, that would be very much appreciated. But here's Max Hammerling. He is leading the race ahead of Andreas Schilder, and then Jack Smith is up to 3rd place. Then it's Dave Southwood. So it wasn't Southwood who was involved in the accident at the back there. Christoph Berzer, and then it's Mixer Mortiferum, Dave Brave, Mustafa Maradi, Columba Griffiths is P9, then it's Paul Magsa, David Halligan, Gustavo Dallavalli, so he's moved up from Challenger if I right in saying so.
Yeah.
These guys are still racing. Ooh, and that's an overtake, and that shouldn't be an overtake. Hermes Reese obviously doesn't know that the safety car is out, so Reese there pulling an overtake on Cyprian Stoyan, and he's actually moved up 2 positions on this lap. So Reese, I don't think he's in the team speak. He must not have heard that the safety car is out. Then it's Toby Sanford, Alex Cochrane, and Simon Benoit rounding out the field. Carlos Gamanis is driving the safety car. And that is the end of the 2nd lap and the 1st behind that safety car. So that's the race order. That's everyone in the race. And luckily, I don't think we have any proper retirements yet, but we do have some very badly affected cars, Ross.
Yeah, Dallavalli's just coming to the pits for a fresh set of rubber. I think he must have had damage after that. Yeah, amazing that there was no retirements from that. You know, I mean, basically everybody from like 5th onwards was involved in that accident. So it's amazing that everybody's still going. And Dallavalli's actually just binned it coming out of the pits. That's quite embarrassing. It just only just touched the wall, just lost it too quick into T1. Yeah, that's not quite what you want to be doing on your Master Split debut. But yeah, just phenomenal that it's that nobody retired from that. Yeah, as you say, I'm sure Hammerlink is sitting up the front pretty bored right now. Agnes Rositis doing God's work in the safety car. I'm sure he's having a great time at the front of the pack. But yeah, just again, 2 separate incidents, big incidents at that. And actually I think Reese has just been instructed. Oh, and Hermes Reese has just pulled over to the side of the road on the entry to the tunnel.
Oh no.
I'm not. I think he might just let people past. I'm not too sure. Very weird there from Ernest Reese.
Well, that's a possibility because he was the driver we saw struggling to understand that the safety car was
Reese
out.
gone. Reese has just been kicked from the race apparently.
Yeah, and that will be because I expect he's probably been black flagged effectively. He'll have been, well, either that or he disconnected. Because it only says he's disconnected. Do you know for sure that he's been kicked?
Yeah, on my screen it said he'd been kicked.
Okay, in that case, the chances are he's probably been effectively black flagged. So that looks like it for Ernest Reese, I'm afraid. Overtaking people under the safety car. Probably not in the team speak, although all of the drivers are supposed to be during this race. So he is the first loss from this race. Now, again, if anyone could let me know how I can sort out my timing screen, that would be very much appreciated. If you are going to leave a comment about that, if you could do it on the Discord or on YouTube rather than on Twitch, then I would appreciate that because I don't have Twitch open throughout the full race.
I can cover the Twitch.
Okay,
I'll
you can cover the
Twitch.
Okay, thank you, Russ.
That's alright.
Yeah, once again, apologies about the slightly unprofessional broadcast, as Ross has disappeared from the commentators channel. Hopefully he will be back, but I think he's maybe having some more internet issues. Yeah, as I was... Oh, hey, Ross.
Sorry, I've also just had it in the safety cars in this lap while I was briefly gone, so we should be seeing some green flag racing any moment now.
Okay, here we go. So the safety car accelerates away from the field. Hamlin will begin to back up Schilder, Smith, Southwood, and everyone else in behind. Here we go. So he puts the power down, or at least he will, and I think he's already done so. So Hamlin will lead at the end of another lap of racing and the start of the first, hopefully, full green flag lap. Hamlin leads, followed by Schilder, Smith, Southwood, and Berza. And then the rest of the field up the hill behind. Is it clean? Let's go down throughout the pack to see if everyone is through safely. There goes Dave Brave, Mustafa Muradi, Magza, and all the rest. Stoyan and Cochrane have passed Sanford. And there's David Halligan. I'm not sure if Sanford made it through completely cleanly. Where is he? He appears to be okay, actually. I don't know. Yeah, okay, there he is. Did lose a place to Cochrane, but anyway, still in the race. And okay, down towards the chicane. This is sometimes an overtaking opportunity, but you need to be very, very close. Oh, who's that? Is that Muradi going across the escape road there, and almost giving a place away to Dave Brave.
Oh, and Alex Cochrane's got to be really slowly off the chicane, I think. Just just seems to I don't know if he maybe had a moment coming out of the chicane, but yeah, he's just found himself falling back a position or two, I think. Very weird. Hamlin sets the fastest lap of the race. I'm just following around with Cochrane. Oh, and Cochrane's spun coming out of Rascasse. Oh dear, that's not been a great race start home at all. Sanford, Benoit and Dallavale all creep through. Cochrane all the way down at the back of the grid. I think he just I think he tagged the inside wall as he went through Rascasse. That's a very bizarre incident, especially for a driver of Alex's caliber. But yeah, he's got a bit of a comeback on his hands now.
Esteban Gutierrez did that in the Grand Prix back in 2014.
Big crash down at Mirabeau. Safety cars out. Sorry to cut across you, Caitlin. Mustafa Muradi and Colombo Griffiths have decided to do the mommy and daddy love each other very much talk, because he's ended up on top of him. I think Toby Sanford just squeezed through without damage as well. Sorry to cut across you again, Caitlin. That was a huge accident. The safety car back out. My oh my. Yeah, that was an interesting thing to see when I just flicked over to these guys.
And they're struggling to get going as well. Power. Ooh, Muradi not. Ooh. Bouncing from wall to wall, trying to get this car underway, and now it gets it underway, but yeah, the safety car back out again. Not entirely sure why, because the field appeared to have got through by the time that that Muradi recovered. But anyway, safety car is out, and that will be a big relief to the drivers affected in that crash, because now they won't lose as much time as they otherwise thought they would. Here's Redzitis in the safety car, just waiting to pick up the pack, and Max Hamlin coming through in first position. He will be the driver picked up by the safety car. Schilder there jumping over the inside of the corner behind. Now we heard in the interviews at the end of the last race that the car barely has the turning circle to get through that corner, and if you make a mistake you can sometimes have to find yourself having to run along the barrier to get the car turned around. But anyway, Schilder seemed okay there, especially since he was able to do it at low speed anyway. Interesting to note that Schilder is on a very different tyre compound to the others, and at Monaco you can get away with that because your opponents can't necessarily get through. So when you're expecting safety cars like this, it's often better to start on the harder compound of tyre and then switch on to the softer compound of tyre later on in the race. Schilder's in quite a good position here, Russ.
Yeah, Schilder's he's looking. I mean, he's definitely a driver to watch out for. Obviously, he was P2 off the grid, which isn't bad at all. And well, he's on that on those C4s. He could be one to watch out for. I mean, obviously, the two safety cars now are really going to have a big effect on strategy because you can now take these cars so much longer. So it'll be interesting to see how he implements that. I think he's just currently just kind of lapping around, you know, as you do behind the safety car. So we just have to see what he does on the restart. Last time Hamilton got the best of him, but we were only really going for a lap and a half. Didn't really have the time, perhaps, for the tyres to fully warm up. But at the moment, he's in a vermin sandwich. You know, he's got Smith behind him, Hamilton in front. Those two can play some mind games with him. They can, you know, they can try and undercut. It's 2 versus 1. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. And Southwood behind as well could really try and come through the field. Christoph Berzer as well. Wow, Christoph Berzer's really come up from his race start. That's a phenomenal first few laps from him as well. So yeah, there's a few drivers at this front of the pack who I think could really be very interesting to watch when we go green.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see that that the safety car comes in. Have we heard that the safety car's coming in this lap, or is it?
No, not yet.
Okay, so it'll stay out for another tour. I wouldn't be surprised if the safety car comes out again later on in the race, which would again play very much into the hands of Andreas Schilder. Now, we've already had one more safety car period than we had in the Challenger split, despite these drivers being of a higher caliber. And that's a little worrying because we're still only 8 laps into the 45 lap race, and if we do get another incident, I mean, we've got plenty of time for it to happen. It's only lap 8. But anyway, let's take another look through the order to see where they all are after all of that. Max Hamling is leading, followed by Andreas Schilder, and the top 5 have all stayed exactly the same since the last safety car period. Then it's Jack Smith, Dave Southwood, and Christoph Berzer. Next Montifram is P6, then it's Dave Brave. Cyprian Stoyan, Simon Benoit already back up to 9th. Now, he was right at the back after the opening accident, so great recovery drive from Simon Benoit there. How do you find that many places here at Monaco? Gustavo Della Valle is P10 despite having a trip through the pits. Alex Cochrane, Toby Sanford, David Halligan, Colombo Griffiths, Paul Magzire, and then I'm afraid
I know, sorry to put you across. Safety car in this lap, Caitlin. Sorry to cut you across.
That's okay, that's okay. Mustafa Muradi is the final runner, still remaining in P16, and we've had 1 retirement. So anyway, interesting to see Radzitis coming in this lap. That means that we're going to have another dash for the cash. Let's see how long this one lasts. Hopefully we're green to the end of the race. We still have pit strategies to come later on, but anyway. So once again, Hamling backs up the field and then puts the power down out of La Rascasse and across the start-finish line. Here we go. Max Hamling, Schilder, Smith, Southwood, and Berzer. Let's keep an eye on Schilder this lap. See if he can get any closer to Hamling. I'm not sure that he can on those much harder tyres. It'll be more about what Jack Smith can do behind. But in saying that, Schilder is relatively close to Hamling up the hill. Towards Mirabeau we go. Hopefully no one goes for a silly dive into there this time. Because it is sometimes an overtaking opportunity, but you need to be close. Out of La Portière and towards the tunnel. Still unsure why they have that big blue C board on the exit of Le Portier, but that's been there for a few years now. Into the Nouvelle chicane, drivers cutting slightly across the inside curb, but keeping 2 wheels on and just about being okay. I think everyone got through decently in the background, and then La Piscine, the swimming pool section, La Rascasse, and then the Anthony Nose corner, I believe it's called, is the final corner of the track, followed by the curved pit straight. Lap 11 of the race we're on now, and it's still Hamlin leading from Schilder, but as I was saying before, it is more to do with Schilder versus Smith than it is between Hamlin versus Schilder at this point in the race, and it's going to be later on when Schilder really comes into play, Russ.
Yeah, obviously, that safety car period, as I said, both of them have really enabled, to the shake-up in the tyre life. You can now bring these tyres so much longer. It's going to be interesting how Schilder handles that. Obviously, he's the reigning champion here in the Formula Trout Premier Series Master Split, so he's no slouch, should we say. So it's just how he contests with the double vermin attack, the attack and defence of Hamlin and Smith respectively, or Smith and Hamlin if you're talking it that way, and how he handles those tyres. It'll be it's going to be interesting to watch. At the moment, seems to be handling the pressure quite well. Hamlin is just streaking off into the distance at the moment with some forte. But yeah, he's just holding up Smith behind. Smith can't really find the gap at the moment. He's looking, but Schilder's just doing everything he needs to do to keep that position. Just looking through the grid as well. Seems that everyone seems to have settled down after those early start jitters. I've got a bit of a cluster of cars fighting for P10, about 4 or 5 cars all chasing down Gustavo Dalla Valle. But apart from that, it all seems to be pretty chilled, I think is the correct term. Hopefully, you won't see any more safety cars, but I hope the racing action hopefully should carry on with its drama.
Now, Russ, if you could keep an eye further back to see if anything happens there, I would very much appreciate it, because, as I said before, I don't have the full timing screen, and as a result, I can't see.
Oh, there's just been a crash!
Oh!
Sorry, down in Mirabeau, Dalla Valle looks like he's kept it going, but he ended up sideways with Cochrane coming through Mirabeau. He just ran really wide, locked up into the corner. Looks like he's managed to keep going though. No safety car obviously for that one. So it looks like they're okay for the time being, but that could have been a lot worse. I think he's quite lucky after that one.
And that's why I said to focus on the order further back, because I would never have seen that had happened otherwise. So thanks for that, Russ. But anyway, oh, look at this. Cochrane close to the back of Benoit, despite the collision that's just occurred. A little bit bumpy over the curbs on the exit of La Piscine, but wide goes Benoit. Cochrane finds a way up the inside, and Benoit, and they're both going to bounce off the wall slightly there. Halligan gets past Benoit as well, and now Halligan, with a really good run on Cochrane, will have to back out of it. No heroics into to Sandoval this time around. As in the background, and that's Dalla Valle. So Dalla Valle's bounced off the wall in turn 1 and has to get it going again, so as not to bring out a safety car. I think we're going to be okay. There we go. So Dalla Valle rejoins the order, and we are indeed okay. There's Mortiferum in the background, who I don't think managed to catch the pack up under that safety car period, and if they did, has dropped back again. But anyway, back to the battle for second and third. Still, it's Schilder and Smith, and as I said, I think it might have been a stroke of genius for Schilder to start on that harder compound of tyre, because he's not going to lose that much time to Hammerlink. Due to the safety car periods. Of course, you can't go any faster than an opponent, no matter what tyres you're on, if the safety car is out. So with Hammerlink having to switch on to a harder compound of tyre later on in the race, and the field potentially being bunched up again due to that, Schilder will be able to maximise the use of his his softer compound of tyre, while losing pretty much nothing from his hard tyres, Russ.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Just obviously the tyres is the real talk of the town at the moment. That's all we've really been discussing, but well, at the moment it's the most important thing on our mind. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he makes those tyres work over the course of the remaining stint. Obviously Hammerlink, or Smith even, apologies, has the ability to, he has the ability to go a bit further on his tyres than he previously did with those safety cars, but he still won't be able to go as long as Schilder. Schilder holds the strategic advantage at the moment in this battle for P2. And then, well, if Hammerlink makes a mistake somewhere as well, he could hold the strategic advantage for the win as well. We simply don't know what's going through the Griffin Gaming driver's mind. I just suppose we've got to wait and see what happens. I mean, it's lap 15 of 45 at the moment, and he's just looking very comfortable holding off Jack Smith at the moment.
So Schilder second, Smith third, up the hill. In the background as well, still Southwood and Berza close together. Now Berza, remember, hasn't scored any points in this championship yet, so 5th place will be more than promising for him, and he'll be very happy to finish there if he does. Through the tight section of the course they go. Berza just needs to make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes while following the driver in front of him. Made a slight mistake there actually. Berza did finish 8th in the last race at Portugal, so did pick up a couple of points from that, although was very badly affected by some of the mistakes that he made and some of the incidents that he had. It's still Max Hammerlink leading this championship. He's been on the podium at every race so far this season, the only driver to win multiple races. Jack Smith is now second in the championship despite missing the first 2 rounds. Sorry, as I've got the hiccups once again. Tim Omler is third after his 3rd place at Germany, and then Oscar Williams is 4th, but will be dropping down the order with every round that he misses. Andreas Schilder is 5th in the championship, possibly would be fighting for the championship lead if it hadn't been for his 2 DNFs which he suffered so far this season, because he too is yet to finish off the podium in races where he has reached the end. So too is Ermas Rees, but he has DNF'd from 2 rounds and missed another. But anyway, after Schilder in the championship, it's Cochrane 6th, followed by Halligan, Magza, Rees and Southwood, the top 10. And today we're on course for a similar order. All 3 of the drivers on the podium have been on the podium before, and are the kind of candidates we'd expect to see up there. But still plenty of time left in this race. The top 3 have been breaking away from the rest of the order, and Hammerlink has been breaking away from the rest of the top 3. And that's how the race stands so far, with Schilder holding off Jack Smith on much harder tyres and gaining a dramatic advantage over Smith in the process, providing he can stay ahead and keep that track position, Russ.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens, really. Just kind of looking through the rest of the order. I think that Sanford may have had a spin somewhere because he swapped positions with Halligan earlier. And then Cochrane's actually also just DNF from the race, so Cochrane was between those 2, but he's actually retired. So he joins Ermas Rees in 15 cars remaining then. And yeah, just kind of looking through the order. Dalla Valle and Moradi, 2 drivers really struggling. I know these guys are the new boys. This is Moradi's 2nd race, and this is Dalla Valle's 1st race in the Master Split. But I'll be expecting much more. Moradi came home P4 last time out in Portimao with a great performance. So it seems out in 14th today. It's not like him. It's a bit interesting. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going on. I think he may have had an early pit stop as well because he's on the C3 tyres. But we'll just have to, maybe he's got something up his sleeve. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Looking down as well, Magza is just stuck behind Benoit as it would appear at the moment. And Southern is just being a moving chicane for Christoph Berza, and Halligan's just got past Stoyan as well. And where's Sanford? Oh, I think Sanford's had another off maybe, or a tangle with Stoyan, because Halligan's just overtaken him and Sanford's fallen a long way back. I'm not too sure what's happened there. Hopefully Sanford's not having too much of a bad time out. He's had a upsy downs performance so far. He's obviously got spun in that first corner pile-up that kind of triggered all the events. Mortiferum comes into the pits as well. He's gone onto the C2s. Okay, so he's going to go for the long run. When we know that the C3s can make it, especially after the challenges, but when everybody went onto the C3s. So that's interesting. So we're dipping onto the C2. It's just, well, it's all kicking off at the moment, Caitlin. At the moment, I think the battle to watch, well, apart from Shielder and Smith, obviously.
Oh, Benoit got very twitchy there. Sorry, Russ. Carry on.
No, it's fine. Yeah, the battle to watch at the moment. Yeah, Benoit and Mag's pretty close. Oh, was my screen lags and actually just for a moment looked like a crash. I'd say it's, apart from obviously Shielder and Smith, Halligan's on a charge at the moment. He's just got through Dave Brave as well. I think Halligan's either going like, oh no, he hasn't. That's my timing screen glitching out. Never mind. Sorry, it's of course the timing screen's just loving me once again. Yeah, I think the battle to watch, if you're looking for action, as Benoit gets spun around out of the Nouvelle chicane. Just as I was about to say, round he goes, no damage it seems, managed to keep out the wall and it's still going, but Magside gets the position.
Did they touch Russ? Did you see it?
Yeah, they did. Magside just hooked Benoit, I think, on the inside, tried to go for a very late lunge, couldn't quite make it. Well, now that that's done, Griffith is actually very close to the back of Benoit, so he may go from attack, or defending to defending again. But yeah, I think the battle to watch at the moment, yeah, I'd say Sutherland and Berzer. Berzer's fallen back a little bit, but these two have been pretty much locked together since the start of the race, so let's just see how they do.
Indeed, Berzer there. 1.5 behind Southwood through the last checkpoint. Seeming decent. It's certainly not over yet, especially since they too are on different tyre compounds, and Berzer doing a very good job to keep up with Southwood there. Back to Smith versus oh, who was that coming into the pits? Well, it looks as if, is that both of the Vermins? Or was it a lapped car that came in maybe?
No, Smith and a lapped car, I think.
Yes,
yeah,
Dalla Valley, my apologies. So Jack Smith into the pits, and is that another set of the softer tyres, the Red Bull tyres? That was not.
No, it's not. Jack Smith's onto the C3, so I'm not sure if you're having some issues with your tyre.
Because it looks red to me.
Yeah, it must be have you got, I know you've just had some issues with your Assetto, of course you had to reinstall it earlier, so it may just be that it's, maybe you haven't got a custom shaders patch or something in, because those are definitely C3s.
Okay.
So yeah.
C3s are the yellow ones, right?
Yes, they are the other ones.
Okay. Again, apologies for all of this. I have just been given a shred of doubt then about all of the other drivers. Could you let me know what tyres are the leaders on? What about Hammerling, Shielder, etc.?
Hammerling's on the C4s. Shielder is on the C4s actually, so he's not as we expected. And I think Southern. Yeah, so Shielder's obviously just playing the long game on the C4s. Then Southern C4, Berzer C4, Smith's now on the C3s. Halligan's on the C3s, Sanford's on the C3s, Maxard's on the C3s.
By the so you say that both Shielder and Hammerling are on the C4s. So you mean you mean the Red Bull, do you?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I think you might just be having some issues with your tyre wall compounds by the sounds of things.
Yeah, because Shielder's on white wall to me, so that's okay. That's really confused me. So Shielder now not in as good a position as I thought that he was, because on my screen he is on the C2s, and I was thinking, wow, how is he keeping up with, or how is he keeping ahead of Jack Smith with that? But that appears to not be the case after all. So Shielder is on Redwood tyres, believe it or not, and that has really shaken the complexion of this race. My apologies. Don't know how that's happened. And a lag spike.
Love a good lag spike here at Monaco, don't we?
Indeed. Just a quick panic, you know, suddenly, whoa, a big crash, and it's not true at all. But anyway, the race continues. Yeah, being asked again to try to fix the ACTV settings. Once again, I don't know what's wrong with it. Here are my settings. They're on the screen right now. If anyone could tell why not all of the cars are showing up at all times, then please let me know. I have no idea. Oh, there we go. Well, now I can see everyone. Okay. Just had a little fiddle. Well, there's their progress in the race. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and I've turned it off. Whoops. Well, hopefully that should make things better. So Schilder appears to be leading the race. Yes, he is. Okay, so Hammerlink's come into the pits. Now, right, what tyres are Hammerlink on?
He's on the C3s now, so Hammerlink has boxed from the lead. Schilder has the lead. Now Schilder's coming in now, though. So I presume we'll be seeing Schilder onto the C3s as well. Let's just have a look. He pulls into his box. He's in for an awkwardly long time, it would seem. Oh, come on,
That looks
Andreas.
longer than usual. That does look longer than usual. What's going on here?
Yeah, that is really long.
What tyres?
He's onto the C3s, but he's onto the C3s, the kind of a medium tyre, but that was really long. I don't wonder if he had damage repairs or something, because that was a long time in that
Well, it must have been, because Jack Smith is now through into what will effectively be second position. Christoph Berzer is second on the track for now, but he is yet to come into the pits. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but does that mean that Hammerlink and Schilder are now on the same tyres?
Oh, Berzer just missed Mirabeau. Berzer just missed Mirabeau. Just completely overshot the corner.
He has indeed. Berzer touches the wall as he rejoins the track. Smith is now back through into second position, and Berzer loses plenty of time. May end up being jumped by Halligan in all of that. We'll have to see how it plays out. But anyway, as I said before, we don't know. I don't know what tyres everyone is on, so ignore what you're seeing on your screen now in terms of the colour of the sidewalls. It all appears to be a little wonky, but anyway, yeah, Ross, I think I should probably stop mentioning tyres now. If you could keep us up to date on those, then that would be very much appreciated, as Berzer now does pit and will probably drop behind Halligan.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking through, I think the only people who really have to stop again, and this is only a maybe, might be the Oxtan guys, because they both stopped really early after the first turn shambles, as I'm now going to refer to it as. They both came in for C3s then, because they were both they were the cars that were really kind of kicked it all off. See Sanford getting spun round, and then Halligan spinning on his own as well a bit further up the road. So yeah, I think those. I'm not even sure if they will have to box. They might be able to nurse those C3s to the end on their own. But
I think it depends on whether there's a safety car or not. I think that a safety car could really save them from having to. But if there is another safety car, they might want to pit anyway, just to make sure they restart on the softest compound of tyre possible. But anyway, so does that mean that everyone that you've seen has used 2 tyre compounds now, or is there anyone who still needs to use a second tyre compound?
I believe, looking through, that is it. I may be wrong, just need to flick through again, but I think everybody has stopped.
Okay, well if there is, if there's anywhere where it's not too bad for this to happen, as we've had a change of position, and that's Southwood getting past Halligan, so Southwood through to 4th place now, and Halligan down to 5th. Okay, as they head up the hill, and he'd have done that down into Sandevot, which is one of the DRS zones of this track. DRS not something we talk about much at Monaco, but anyway, it does still occur. The other one, of course, is out of the tunnel towards the Nouvelle Chicane, but anyway. So as I was going to say, if there's one place where tyres don't matter as much, it's Monaco, because realistically here it's all about the track position. It's all about who you're in front of and who you're behind, which gives you the advantage rather than what tyre compound you're on. But of course it does still affect things, because you have the pit stop strategies and you have the safety cars and everything, which can throw the order back up again. But anyway, for the time being, let's focus on the track positions. It's Hammerlink followed by Smith and Schilder, and that looks to be the effective order to meet, with Southwood and Halligan now in that order in 4th and 5th, with Berzer dropping down to 8th place.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt.
Hello. Who's this?
It's Max here. On the ACTV settings, you can switch from the progress setting to one that shows the gaps, so which would be a little bit more useful on stream.
Yeah, trouble is, there we go. Okay, that works. Sorry, trouble is, when I did that before, it wasn't showing everyone in the race, but it appears to be working a bit better now. Thanks for your tips, Maxi, and yeah, thank you.
See you later.
Okay, so that was
Maxi Younger comes from his slumber once again.
indeed our knight in shining armor here in the stream. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why it's allowing me to see every driver now, and it wasn't earlier. I thought it was to do with what setting I was on, but obviously not. So, shrugs. Ooh, Halligan appeared to hit the wall there. That was a little wallop. Let's see if his steering's still straight. Looks decent to me. Of course, he is steering slightly to the right, but that's because the start-finish straight isn't very straight at all. But anyway, little hit at the wall there. Sanford appears. Well, was that Sanford swapping places with Magzai there, or was I misseeing things?
No, Burrs has fallen down the order behind Magzai, so I think Burrs may have missed the corner at Sandemont, may have gone off again.
Maybe. Also Moradi there passing Mortiferum on that last lap. That's for P11. Oh, and Mortiferum into the wall, and Brave couldn't avoid them. Bit of a touch there. They appear to be all right to an extent. Anyway, the race continues. No retirements there, just about, but that could have been very, very bad indeed. Let's watch Max Aaron Berza for the time being. And now that we can see the gaps, it's a lot easier to ensure that we can see what's going on in this race. Now Berza, of course, made that mistake earlier, went wide at Mirabeau. He will feel that he deserves to be higher up the order, and into the pits comes Magzai, so that will help him out to no end. Dave Southwood on the last lap set his personal best lap of the race. So even though we're over halfway through the race now, the driver's still pushing, possibly even more so now because of the pit stages. It's important to race stationary cars if you can. Anyway, Berza seemed to lose a little bit of time to Sanford and all of that, having to back off as the driver ahead of him, Max, ducked in, but should be able to put the power down now. Is that Mortiferum or Moradi? It's Mortiferum, who's also been into the pits on that lap. And
I think Mortiferum had damage. He's just come out on the C2s again, so it's still on those kind of harder tyres. I'm not sure why he boxed, so my best assumption is he was in an incident and had some damage maybe. I just have to see.
Potentially, but anyway, rejoining in P14, there are now 12 cars on the lead lap of the race, with Benoit, Moradi and Dalla Valle dropping off the lead lap due to various incidents of their own. Southwood again pushing, once again an improvement, and he, well, at this rate, he might actually catch Schilder before the end of this race. Imagine that. That would be quite something. But of course, at Monaco, it's almost impossible to overtake here. You need to force your opponent into a mistake, or jump them in the pit stages, or due to a safety car period coming out at the right time for you. But anyway, Schilder being caught a little here, as Sanford there runs slightly wide ahead of Berza. Berza with a face full of gearbox, and not able to do anything with it, as Hammerlink sets his personal best out in front. Not sure entirely who has the overall fastest lap of the race at the time being, but that was one of the first laps I've seen under 110 so far in this race from Max Hammerlink. As Mixer Mortiferum, I'm afraid, has DNF'd, so that will be as a remnant of whatever forced them to pit on the last time around. And Mortiferum has been through the pit lane and now has retired from the race, Russ.
Yeah, shame for him. Maybe it was a hardware issue, maybe he came into pits, not entirely sure. I was ashamed to see Mixer out. Another very quick driver who wasn't having a great day today, but that's Monaco for you. It's messes with your head, messes with your heart. And I'm sure Mixer will be looking to bounce back at the next round.
Indeed, Monaco, famously one of the most difficult circuits in the world, probably the most difficult Grand Prix circuit, well, almost definitely. Have you ever raced at at Monaco, Russ? And if so, how did it go? Oh, touch! Sorry, Sanford just got nerfed there in the hairpin by Berza, but they both have got away with it. Okay, sorry. Back to what you were saying, Ross.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a league race here. I think I've obviously done racing like the F1 games and stuff. Back on like,
Here we go,
F1.
Berza up the inside and wide across the escape road goes Sanford, and he's going to have to give that up because Berza was fully alongside him. Good move from Berza and good sportsmanship from Sanford. Sorry, Ross.
No, it's fine. These two it's been a very entertaining battle to watch. They've been racing each other hard, but very fairly, which is always great to see. You know, a lot of the time in sim racing you don't see, fair racing. Push turns to shove almost immediately. So it's nice to see Sanford and Burns having a good old-fashioned scrap without stepping too far. But yeah, I don't think I've ever done a league race here because a lot of sim racing leagues tend to avoid the Azure circuit for obvious reasons. If you remember the first 10 laps and how we spent all of them under safety car. I think I've probably done some races in maybe like F1 2012 or F1 Championship Edition or something like that way back when. Probably resulted in me in the wall at some point. I was never good around here on a controller. Well, it is quite a tricky circuit, to be fair. And yeah, it is as I said, barely any leagues travel to Monaco. It's because it just has a tendency just to be the messiest race of the year. I mean, this is the first time that we're back here with Formula Trout since season 1. It's been 6 seasons since we've been here. It's a long old time. And as Mustafa Moradi DNFs as well, so another DNF there for Moradi.
Just saw Moradi in the pits there, so I'm not entirely surprised to see that happen. But it's still a shame. So 13 cars still in the race, only 9 now on the lead lap. So it's dwindling, and now only 8 cars because Magzai has been lapped, and Magzai there fighting with Griffiths. Griffiths running wide, and Dave Brave also cutting across the chicane in the process. Little bit of chaos further back, but anyway. Now, of course, you're right in saying that the Premier Series hasn't been here in 6 seasons. However, we have actually been here with the Sprint Series, as into the wall goes Dave Brave, a little too brave there, and his steering's okay, but you need to make sure you don't do that too many times. Of course, these cars are a little more sturdy than they would be in reality. But still, you don't want to go bouncing off the walls if you can help it. Very close to the barrier there for Griffiths as well. As I was saying, we went here in the Sprint Series with the Formula 3 cars last season, and we've also been here with the Formula E style cars, the Formula Lithiums, I believe you call them. But anyway. Of course, we had a red flag at the start of the first Sprint Series race when I commentated that here. I've done a league race at Monaco. I won it. It was a historic F3 race, and that was absolute carnage. I ended up winning it despite going for a rollover at one point. Luckily,
how do you roll a historic F3 car at Monaco, survive, and then win the race?
Well, there used to be a big curb on the inside of Portier, as Benoit there takes 10th place away from Colombo Griffiths. But yeah, there used to be a big curb on the inside of Portier, and I kind of spun into that and had a very slow speed rollover as the car went bouncing over that. Didn't hit anything, and actually the car felt perfectly fine after that. Probably. Oh, it's Santini or Sanford. Sorry, not Santini. Sanford has had a spin at Portier. It's going to cost him 7 or so seconds, dropping back towards Stoyan. Gets away with it to an extent. Now the driver behind there, I believe that's Dalla Valle, so he doesn't have to worry about him too much. But anyway, little error from Sanford. But yeah, very slow speed rollover. Car felt fine. It righted itself despite the driver's head making contact with the ground. That's the beauty of sim racing. You don't have to worry about injuring yourself. And managed to recover to win that. So anyway.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank you. It was a weird race, not particularly realistic, but anyway, it felt good. I've commentated many more races here at Monaco. As I said, plenty of red flags, safety car interventions, and carnage. And today, of course, has contributed 2 of those safety car interventions. Very rare you get safety cars in sim racing, but they've decided that today, to avoid humongous pile-ups holding up the race leaders, they've decided to bring out the Mercedes AMG SLS, and a beautiful Formula Trout livery on that thing as well. If we do get to see the safety car again in this race, and fingers crossed that we don't, I'll show you some of the cheeky little messages that have been written all over it. It's a slightly more fun safety car than we're used to seeing in some of the other leagues. But anyway, it's not expected to be a full-time addition to this championship. It's just been brought in for Monaco, as Sanford there runs over the chicane, just to keep things clean. I should explain why I called him Santini earlier. It's because Santini is the name of the driver in another league that I commentate, and when I see S-A-N in a Assetto Corsa, that's where my mind goes. But Sanford there, the last driver on the lead lap now, and definitely ends with Ford. But anyway, Russ Hammerlink now leading by 10 seconds. Is it all over for him, or could this race still throw up a surprise?
Well, looking at it at the moment, I don't think. Well, I can't see Smith challenging Hammerlink on Team Order's grounds. I don't think Schilder's got the pace. Frankly, he's too far back. I don't think he's managed to get those C3s working. So
Southwood.
Yeah, I don't think.
Sorry, Southwood very slow there in the Raskas. Didn't see exactly what happened, but I think it's likely that he clipped the inside barrier. But anyway, and touches the outside wall there on the pit straight. So possible damage for Southwood. He's hit the wall a couple of times, the driver from the Isle of Man. But anyway, meanwhile, in complete juxtaposition to the troubles that we're seeing here, Andreas Schilder sets his personal best lap of the race. And I think Southwood's beginning to struggle because he didn't look particularly quick through Massenet there, Russ. What do you think?
No, I'm just following around now. Yeah, he's looking very slow. I might have maybe some suspension damage, or maybe he's got a puncture. I can't see that he has, but he's really struggling in the corners. Halligan's catching him at some rate now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him popping into the pits at the end of this lap, because he is really, and again in the chicane, really just struggling. That front end's just not going where he's pointing at. I mean, the steering wheel looks great. Yeah, the steering all went into the wall on the exit to the back as well. I think maybe maybe his brakes given up on his pedal box. He seems to be really struggling with the brakes, so it could be a hardware issue. Because looking at him now, I can't see anything wrong. So yeah, I think we're seeing Southwood, and he does pull into the pits there. I think that will be to retire.
Well, either that or to replace whatever the damage was. He is coming into his box, so that's promising. That doesn't look like a DNF for me. Otherwise, he'd have either pulled off and retired somewhere on the track, or retired to his box. So Southwood does rejoin the race. So he feels that it was maybe an issue of tyres there, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe he just finally chewed through those C3s. I don't know, he has been on those C3s for quite some time. Drops down to P6, still got quite a gap to Sanford behind, so need not worry about that. However, he does also have Max Hammerlink who's about to lap him, so...
Brave touched the wall there. Sorry for touching my microphone. Griffiths and Brave have been fighting very hard, tooth and nail, the last few laps. Stella Valley's into the pits, but Brave every time has cut across the chicane and had to give the place back. Surely he's gotta. Well, he doesn't have to go for it. And if he thinks he's gonna cut across the chicane again, then again it might be worth it here, because he's in the wall in Massenet. That's a Max Verstappen style incident. Remember, he did that twice back in 2016. Plenty of other drivers caught out there, Fernando Alonso among them back in 2010, and now Dave Brave. But unlike what would happen in reality, he is driven away from the scene of the crime. Dave Southwood is now a lap down, I'm afraid. So only 5 cars now on the lead lap. This has been an inspired drive from Max Hammerlink. We haven't seen him since the end of that last safety car period. But talking of safety cars, there's still a possibility. There's still a possibility that something could change in this race, and the safety car is that possibility, I'd say. And that's why it's important to stay on the lead lap here as well, because if the safety car does come out, you're only going to benefit if you're on the same lap as the leader. If you're further back than that, you're going to be asked to drop to to the tail of the field, and not get in the way of any of the top 5. So I wouldn't be surprised if several of the positions in this race get decided by a late race safety car.
Well, it's certainly a possibility. We saw that in the Challenger split. Had a one-lap sprint finish at the end. Well, it could happen here. Which I mean, obviously we can't tell the future. We're not soothsayers, but anything can happen really. And it's Monaco. If it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to be here. So we'll just have to see. I'm just following Max Halligan around at the moment, and he's just driven a fantastic race. He has just out the front, and he's in almost no man's land as he's doing so well. He's got a huge gap to Smith behind, who himself has got a huge gap to Schilder, and then Halligan as well. The top 4 are so spread out, with Merzer and Southern as well quite far apart. It's only really down on the Stoyan and Magzai have really got any battling going on.
It's impressive that Hamlin's managed to lap so many drivers with no issues, because when you lap a driver, unless it's done in the pit stages, you have to pass them on the track, and they've got to give way to you. The blue flags and the blue lights will be flashing and waving, and you've got to give way. But even so, it's difficult to do it in a safe place, and sometimes the leader will still have to go offline in order to get through. There's famous footage of Ayrton Senna lapping cars one-handed here at Monaco, because they were just so intimidated by the day-glow orange and white McLaren coming up in the mirror that they all ducked and dived out of the way, and Senna didn't back off at all, just kind of carved straight through them. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what Hamlin's been doing today. But anyway, we're now into the final 5 laps of this race. 11.5 seconds is the gap over Jack Smith. That is huge, but not as huge as the 22.4 seconds between Smith and Schilder. Absolutely massive. That looks pretty much unassailable to me, I'm afraid to say. Smith himself has just lapped Toby Sanford, who's running in 7th. So it's Schilder 3rd, and it's Halligan, Berza, Sarafwood, Sanford, Stoyan, Magza and Benoit, the top 10, followed by Griffiths, Brave and Dalla Valle, the only other drivers left in this race. Dalla Valle now 2 laps down, having a torrid time, I'm afraid to say. But Sanford, Stoyan and Magza, there you see in the background, still relatively close as well. But whoopsie daisy, and that's a big impact there, and a big spin for Dave Southwood. Sanford, sorry, who gets out of the way of Stoyan and Magza, who both go through cleanly. But that was a big hit, and I'm surprised that he didn't have to come into the pits that time around. The car flew up in the air, almost ended up on its side there on the exit of Lapisi. And that was simply him lighting up the rear tyres and not being able to control the result. Benoit might catch him at this rate as well. And he's now down into 9th position, and there was someone stopped on the outside, and it was Smith! Jack Smith is in the wall! Jack Smith is bouncing off the barrier on the inside. I didn't see what happened, but he's losing time, and he should still be okay over Schilder, but he's lost well over 10 seconds, maybe 12 or 13. It's a lot closer now between him and Schilder, and if traffic comes into play again, then that could get a little dicey. But what an incident there for Jack Smith, just to get the heart rate going in the late stages. Max Hammerlink is leading by almost half a minute here.
Yeah, Hammerlink, well, he's got this in the bag now, hasn't he? Smith, if he puts that in the wall again, he could be in trouble with Schilder. Again, this battle for P7 as well, now that the Sanford's fallen back into it, it's a 4-way fight for P7, and Stoyan's just holding them all up. Sanford's desperately trying to find a way past Magzai. He seems to be the driver with the pace, even after that huge accident. He was really lucky he didn't roll over, actually. And again, Benoit as well in the background, just kind of patiently watching, seeing if he can join in. And yeah, this is definitely some of the closest racing we've seen all day. Late in the race as well. Oh no, there's a big accident, and it's Stoyan and Magza are into the wall. Sanford gets through, Benoit doesn't. Stoyan and Magza are able just to get it keep going. They just both slid into the outside wall at Massenet. Sanford slides through, back to P7. And that just shows how easy it is to make a mistake here at the Azure circuit. You know, any lapse of concentration, any single moment where something can flash across your mind that you're not expecting, and then you're in a wall. You have to be concentrated every single moment. When you're racing another car, it's even harder, and that's what we've seen just there.
It's a complete role reversal of what happened earlier on, where Sanford dropped behind Stoyan and Magza. Now it's Stoyan and Magza both dropping behind Sanford at the same time, one fell swoop. But anyway, and Sanford himself on that last lap. And Benoit now ahead of Magza and spins into the barriers. So Benoit did make a move, and he's now back down into 10th place in all of that. Only touched the wall on the rear, should be okay. Hammerlink now leads by 31 seconds. That is over half a minute, as Halligan and Berzer are going side by side for 4th place. So it's all happening in the late stages, and Halligan holds him off. But this is a battle that's only just emerged. Berzer's been catching hand over fist, and Halligan's got a tough task here to hold him off, as Berzer has clearly got the pace over him at this point in the race, Russ.
Indeed, Halligan obviously qualified 3rd, and then was one of the perpetrators in the turn 1 pile-up. Oh no, and he's made a mistake on the exit of Antinoj. Berzer goes through. Hopefully we'll be able to stick with him out of Saint-Devot. This is getting really close between a lot of drivers late in the race. I think Halligan's tyres finally giving up the ghost. Both the Octane guys have gone a long way on those C3s. Hammerlink starts his final lap of the race. And looks like Berzer is going to streak off away from Halligan. And Hammerlink's actually made a mistake coming through Massenet, nearly in the wall there. And so looking through the rest of the grid. And Halligan's tyres have just given up the ghost by the looks of things. I don't think he's going to be able to challenge Berzer. Those two still do have a lap left though. Where Hammerlink is on the track, he's directly behind them, so they've still got time. So Halligan can still try and fight his way back through. Hammerlink is just entering the tunnel. So not long left in this race, Caitlin.
Indeed, you don't want to make a mistake on the final frickin' lap of the race here at Monaco. But anyway, Max Hammerlink, 44 laps, it's a sign, because he's going to win by 32 or so seconds. That's one of the biggest gaps I've ever seen in a race this short. It's not even a full Grand Prix length. The full Grand Prix length would be 78 laps here. This is only 45. But anyway, watch this, Hammerlink coming through the final corner now. Anthony knows to take a humongous victory. His opponents could have done with a safety car, they didn't get it, and Hammerlink wins. There we go. It's going to be Smith who's second, providing he can take it cleanly to the flag. Drivers already a lap down are crossing the line to finish themselves, but let's watch these other drivers on the lead lap crossing the line. Jack Smith will make it a Vermin 1-2, and unsurprisingly, Vermin are humongously ahead of anyone else in the championship. They came into this round 121 points in the lead. They're now going to be well over that. This is unstoppable. Vermin, we might as well give them the trophy now. Smith is second, Schilder is going to be third, and then it's going to be Berzer and Halligan, who fought late in the race, but due to Halligan's mistake, it's going to be Berzer fourth and Halligan fifth. And then Southwood, Sanford, Stoyan, Magza and Benoit, the other points-paying positions. Also, props to Griffiths, Brave and Dalla Valle for crossing the start-finish line, well, crossing the finish line, despite their various incidents and accidents. But, always good to see drivers finishing, no matter what their chances of points are. And Dave Brave will be the last driver to finish there. The retirements, of course, were Maradi Mortiferum, so a bad day to have the initials M-O-R, and then Cochrane and Ermis Rees, who we believe was black flagged after jumping past cars under the safety car. So that's it. Hammerlink has dominated, and Vermin once again have dominated. Driver of the day, team of the day, bish bash bosh, Bob's your uncle. Now let's see if we get any interviews. It would be amazing to see how Hammerlink did that and how he feels about taking one of the most dominant victories I've ever seen in a race like this. To put that into perspective, Lewis Hamilton has only ever won races by 30 seconds on 2 occasions. One of those being his 1-minute win at the 2008 British Grand Prix, and one of those being last year at the Turkish Grand Prix, where he won by about 30 seconds. Hammerlink there has done that in an even shorter race. So, yeah, that's quite something there. and yeah, his gap actually was bigger than Lewis Hamilton's gap at the Turkish Grand Prix. So Hamilton to Mercedes confirmed. We can only hope. But anyway, that's the lot. Hamilton winning from Smith, Schilder, Berzer, Halligan. Good race for Schilder and Berzer there. The team third in the championship coming into this round. Griffin Gaming will be second in the championship, leaving it. They'll have jumped ahead of 888 VDT. But anyway, then it's Halligan, Southwood, Sanford, Stoyan, Magza, and Benoit picking up the other points-paying positions and helping out their relative drivers and teams championships for us. What do you make of that?
Well, it all certainly got a bit exciting towards the end, as I kind of predicted at the end.
Many internet issues here. Apparently my ping is up to 1,023.
Well.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't realise you were still talking there, Russ. I had various different technical issues.
So, I mean, at least yours happened.
Okay, still the ping very bad here. I think the stream can still hear me okay. Anyway, let's bring in... Oh, I can't drag people in. Where's that?
I can. Who do you want in first?
Oh, now I can. Okay. Hello, Jack Smith. Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can indeed. Jolly good. So, second place and a 1-2 for Vermin. Good for your team. Very, very good.
No, it was a really good race. I got really lucky at the start. You probably saw the incident right at the start of the race there. We're pulling into the back of Halligan.
Indeed.
Honestly, not sure how I got away with that, with just like minor damage. I literally had maybe slightly yellow wings, which is still like, it was maybe like a tenth off pace, so really nothing major. So yeah, I'm honestly not sure how I got away with that, but P2, it's a good result.
Indeed, and you had to fight with Schilder in the opening stages as well, and almost in the end there after another spin. How close was he, and how difficult was he to beat?
Overtaking, well, we were really close on pace, so I think it must have been within like 4 attempts, maybe our pace, bit difference. So I'd catch him in the final few sectors, and he'd gain on the first sector, so it'd be like a back and forth kind of thing. But he'd get run down the straight all the time, and I'd be able to make a move. So it was it was a little bit difficult, but we just had to play a decent pit stop strategy, and then luckily I think he pitted for damage as well, so we got a bit of an advantage out of that. But once I was on the mediums, that was it. I was flying. So.
And Russ, do you have anything to add to that?
No, don't think I do. Just great performance out there, and thanks for coming in for the interview.
Awesome. Cheers for tuning, guys.
No problem. Thank you to Jack Smith there for talking to us. Now let's move on to our race winner and the other Vermin driver, Max Hammerlink. Max, are you there?
Hello there.
Fantastic race. You just won by 32 seconds. Do you understand how important that is at Monaco?
Yeah, I think Jack spun. I think he was a bit closer than that, realistically. Without that mistake, I don't think the gap would have been quite that big otherwise.
Well, even so, your opponents had incidents and you didn't. How do you keep your concentration for 45 laps here and not go bouncing off the barriers at least once?
I'm just as surprised as you are, to be honest. I was fully expecting to just turn to the wall at some point, because every distance I did, somewhere around lap 15 maybe I would end just bounce off the barrier, and somehow I've managed to get through that with, I think I scraped the wall like time, which you have no idea how surprised I am, but yeah.
And that's your 5th podium in a row. When's the streak going to end?
I thought the start of the season was gonna be the worst part, because honestly, out of the tracks we did so far, I'm sorry, I really didn't like any of them, except for Nürburgring. That's a good track, but the other one wasn't too big on. And the next 4 races, I think, or 5 races, are some of my favorite tracks. Just overall, Stuka, Turkey, I'm looking forward to. So I don't know. unless my internet maybe decides to decide otherwise, maybe I'll manage the 100% this time around.
Well, at this rate, you're going to be unstoppable at Turkey. Good luck there. Russ, do you have anything else to say?
Again, no, just fantastic performance, Max. I know you're not feeling too great after that one. I can tell from the messages you're putting in the general chat. But yeah, still fantastic performance, and I'm
Never again, man. Like, fucking hell.
Who would you replace that with? What would you replace Monaco with then?
I mean, if you want another street circuit, you can do Singapore. I feel like that one's just better in every regard. Like,
Fair enough.
you have actual overtaking opportunities there, but it still has like the same aspects. But then again, just fuck street circuits in general. So, but it's not my decision, right? So.
Yeah, well, thank you very much anyway for joining us, Max.
Yeah, thanks for commentating, guys. Awesome job,
Indeed,
as always,
thank
I
you,
bet.
Max. Apologies for any language you may have heard there. I know that we, well, whatever. Adrenaline's running high, so it's understandable. Anyway, let's bring in. Actually, Russ, do you want to take this one? Let's bring in Christoph Berzer with his best finish of the season so far. Griffin Gaming were 3rd and 4th here. Russ, do you want to take over?
Yeah, sure. So, Christoph, first of all, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Brilliant. Hello, and well, great performance out there. I know you're also in the crowd of Let's Never Drive at Monaco again. Just kind of run us through your race. Like it was definitely a long one. It was definitely a hard race for everyone. Just kind of run it through what you're feeling.
So we started P7, which was around where I expected. Then we avoided the chaos at the start, gained 2 positions, were P5. Obviously, the safety cars were pretty long, actually, so I know I could take it easy on the tires. I could go a bit longer than we thought. And I was actually stuck behind Dave. Like, I felt I had half a second more than he had. So I tried to make the overcut, and I made a mistake on the overcut. I locked up and went straight on and had to reverse, lost 10 seconds, came out behind him, obviously. I was stuck behind 3 cars. I think Max Zire, Toby Zandvoort, and David Halligan. And I really had to push to overcome them. And I think they pitted early. And then on the second to last lap, I caught David and just overtook him for P4. And Dave Southward, who I was fighting with, pitted again, strangely. But I mean, coming home in P4 when you start P7 or expect it to be even lower is just, it feels really rewarding, putting in the work and picking up the pieces.
Yeah, well, again, it was a great result out there. Just kind of looking forward, we've got some nice tracks out there coming up next. Obviously, very different to Monaco. Silverstone, Istanbul, Spa, Monza, and Suzuka were very kind of quick tracks. We were just talking to Max Hamilton, and he was saying he's really looking forward to these. What about you? Do you think that you're going to have maybe better results at these tracks?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think Monaco is honestly my weakest track on the calendar. So finishing P4, I'm really, really happy about that. And Spa is also a circuit that suits me really well, I think. So I definitely look forward to finishing P4 or even higher in the future, next races.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Christoph, and again, a great result out there on track today.
Thank you.
And it's perfectly okay. Thank you very much.
Indeed, that was Christoph Berzer. We only have one driver left to be interviewed, David Halligan. Hello, David.
Hello.
So, a P5 finish there. How do you feel about it?
A bit mixed. I'm kind of pleased that I actually recovered quite well. I feel I had to nurse the sea freeze. Obviously, that I got punted at the start. I don't know what happened there. I got a little bit tangled up with Andreas Schilder, and then I had somebody hit me in the back. I'm really pleased that I managed to come back and finish 5th.
Now that's your 3rd P5 finish of the season. When's the podium coming?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but try my best as usual.
Good luck. Anyway, aside from that, you mentioned the instance here. How do you feel about racing at Monaco? Is it something you want to do again, or is it just too chaotic?
Absolutely, I'd love to race here again. It's it's a special place in Formula One folklore. Formula Trout. I like the chaos. I like the different dynamic of, having to pace yourself, and keep away from the wall. Anything can happen. I kind of enjoy it. It's something different from the norm.
sorry if you heard any crashing in the background there. That was my cat falling off my mantelpiece. Anyway, she's okay. Everything else is okay. Yeah, thank you for the interview there, David, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.
Okie dokie. Right, join us back in 2 weeks' time. We will be live from Great Britain, Silverstone in Northamptonshire, one of the best, in my opinion, the best Grand Prix circuit that there is, and I am very much looking forward to that. Russ, will you be there?
Oh, of course, same as always. Silverstone, it's an iconic Formula track. It's been, I mean, it was the host of the first Formula One Grand Prix. And it's it's just iconic, you know. So many corners that run through Copse onto Magus and Beckett's is some of the best racetrack in the world, and I think it'll be amazing to see, you know, drivers of such a high caliber in the Formula Trout Premier Series running around there, and I think it's definitely one to look forward to. Should be a lot of action on our hands. It's usually a track that provides a lot of excitement, so make sure you're tuned in for that one.
I tell you what, my brother's in Silverstone right now doing something or other with college. But anyway, indeed, tune into that in 2 weeks' time. But from me and Russ McIntyre today, it's goodbye.